Welcome to the Daily Beast podcast. I'm Joanna Coles, Chief Content Officer of the Daily Beast.
And I am Samantha B., Chief Content Officer of Elon Musk's crop top collection. He's got a lot.
I think he has a lot, but are they actually normal sized t-shirts that just can't get over the belly?
They don't quite get there anymore.
Yeah, I actually feel a bit like that with some of my t-shirts. It's not just Elon. It's Thursday and I have stepped outside of the US. I'm actually in Barcelona, and the Europeans all think Americans have lost their mind.
Oh, dear God. I know. I'm sure.
They are really worried about what happens to NATO, obviously, and what happens to the war that Donald Trump says he's going to end on his first day in office.
Well, you're an emissary of peace and critical thinking. So just do your job and traipse across Europe, communicating that some of us are normal here.
Well, I'm here for an AI conference held by Five9. I'm actually emceeing it. So I'm an emissary for AI, I guess. I daren't be an emissary for anything else. Well, and an emissary for the beast. And on today's show, we're getting the download about how the Trump cabinet is shaping up from our Daily Beast executive editor, that's his official title, Hugh Doherty. And we're talking to a good friend of mine, Adam Grant, who is the organizational psychologist. His TED Talks have been watched by 80 million people. And he was voted favorite Wharton professor 7 years in a row.
Wow. He's going to feel sad when this podcast beats his TED Talk numbers.
He is. What have you been voted best at 7 times in a row?
I've never been voted best at anything 7 times in a row, or maybe even ever 1 time in a row, perhaps.
Well, actually, but you've got lots of Emmy awards and Emmy nominations, so that counts.
Joanna, so many accolades. They're all hiding in a cupboard.
You should really have them on that shelf behind you.
No, I like to keep all the orchids people behind me. Can you see? Your orchid is back there.
That looks good.
It looks really good back there. I spent the last weekend at a Planned Parenthood retreat. I serve on the board of Planned Parenthood of Southern New England. That is my attempt to give back in some possible way. And we spent the whole weekend strategic planning because that feels necessary.
Yeah, I saw that there's been emergency buying of Plan B. I think Plan B sales in certain states were up 1,000%.
Well, it does feel like Project 2025's priority number 3 or 4 is to fully dismantle the organization. Will we even have contraception in 3 years? Who knows? Maybe I'll just be a precious uterine vessel on 2 getaway sticks. And they'll capture me.
I feel like I've seen a couple of cartoons with women dressed in Handmaid's Tales outfits. And they say, well, he did promise to bring down the price of eggs.
Oh, God.
Tell me something. What is going to happen to Planned Parenthood? Because, in fact, only 3% of its funding goes to abortion, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, where I serve on the board, I think it is maybe the 2nd largest healthcare provider in the whole state of Connecticut, or it's really way up there. I mean, they do so much work providing no cost or low cost, frontline healthcare to thousands and thousands and thousands of people, like pap smears and contraception and sexual education and STI testing. There's just so much that they do that it would really be a disaster if something were to happen to it.
Is it fair to say that Planned Parenthood slightly lost a figurehead in Cecile Richards, who led it for so long and was so prominent and felt like an excellent advocate?
Well, she was an incredible advocate. But I have to say that in my experience, the women or the people at Planned Parenthood that I talk to and deal with are just some of the most incredible people who are just wonderful advocates for people's health care.
It does seem extraordinary that we have to talk about this in 2024.
You really have to gear up to be protective, to be proactive. There is literally so much work to do to keep the organization solvent and moving forward. It's unbelievable. I don't think people really understand what is at stake, but you think of Planned Parenthood as something that has just always been there and always will be there, but that's not necessarily exactly true. And so it is something that we have to continue to fight for and urgently protect.
Well, in more positive news, we were both on the Pivot podcast this week.
We were, and it was so fun. I think I made Scott very uncomfortable a couple of times.
I think Scott is in a permanent state of discomfort.
Well, that's good. Then everything went swimmingly. I think I might have made him blush. I just kept saying things like amniotic. I don't know why. The words came out of me and he turned red. What did you do over the weekend?
I did spend some time talking to people who are very knowledgeable about the Trump transition team.
Oh, really?
About what's going to happen there. And I know we're going to be talking to Hugh Doherty, our executive editor, about the new cabinet members going in, who's been chosen.
Your life is so mysterious to me. What do you mean that you were talking to people who have direct knowledge of the transition team? What is happening? What does your social life look like? You are a curiosity.
What I did get was a sort of sense of perspective in terms of how Donald Trump can't quite believe that he's pulled this off, that he feels like he's king of the world, that he spent the last couple of days with people just calling him, and from all over the world, heads of state, celebrities, business people calling him to kiss the ring, and that he's very much looking forward to now, with the threat of jail off his shoulders, enjoying himself.
Oh, what does that mean? What does that look like?
I think it probably means that he swings his legs from behind the desk in the Oval Office and he has people come and pay homage. He talks at them. He's a talker. People say about him that he's a chatter.
Oh, boy.
And we know he does the weave on the campaign trail. Now I think he'll be doing the weave from behind the Oval Office desk.
The thing is not woven yet? We're still weaving it?
It's a tapestry. It's a tapestry of life. It's a tapestry of modern America.
Did I hear that Elon is overstaying his welcome there?
I love the fact that Kai Trump, on one of her social media posts, said that they're now calling him Uncle Elon.
Oh, my God. Oh, do you think they really are?
Well, I wonder if he's wearing do you think they have... I've never been to Mar-a-Lago. I've driven around the outside of it and I would kill to go inside. I'm fascinated by it. But do you think they have like Mar-a-Lago dressing gowns or Trump dressing gowns that Elon's wearing? Is he hanging out in a robe by the pool? Is he wearing slippers?
Oh, the robe is tethered too loosely. If he's hanging out in a robe, the robe is partially open, and I do not like it. Joanna, what would you do if you were at a party and Trump walked in? Would you go up to him? Would you sidle up?
Of course. I wouldn't sidle. I'd walk up to him. Yeah, of course. I mean, couldn't be more interested to talk to him. I mean, listen, what he's pulled off is absolutely extraordinary. And I do feel like we are all bit parts in his television show. He's the ultimate performer, the ultimate entertainer, and he's sort of pulled it off against all expectations, including his own.
Wow. You would go right up the center. I would crab walk out of the party as fast as possible. Like The Exorcist. I would climb up the wall and I would crab across the ceiling and get the hell out as fast as possible.
Why wouldn't you want to talk about Planned Parenthood?
We don't have anything to talk about. Joanna, we do not have anything to talk about.
I do feel that Donald Trump might remember the last thing that anybody said to him. I think if anybody could persuade him to fund Planned Parenthood, it would be you.
Sorry. I can't stop laughing. I don't think
I'm ever the optimist. I'm ever the optimist,
really are.
Sam.
I marvel. I want to live inside your brain. I really do.
But I am very titillated at the idea of Elon cozying up to the family and being the guest that won't leave. You can imagine sort of Trump closing the door and sort of rolling his eyes and starting to complain that he's taking up too much time. It's going to end badly. It's going to end badly.
It's going to end so badly. You can't have two kings. We know that.
Yeah. And do you think he's going into the kitchen sort of at 2 a.m. and rifling through the freezer to find ice cream?
He is definitely doing that, and he is leaving a great big mess.
Yeah, and also I'm fascinated by what Melania and Elon have to say too.
Absolutely nothing. They have nothing to say to one another. Nothing whatsoever. That's a Sam B guarantee.